Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'll be reacting to If There's No Self, What is Reborn? Buddhist FAQ. So the last video was about the difference between rebirth and reincarnation. So this one is a question about if there's no self, what is reborn? I don't know too much about the Buddhist way of life is, so I'm guessing Buddhist is saying there is no self. So what is reborn? That's a question I cannot answer because again, my experience and knowledge with at least Buddhism is very limited, actually non-existent for the most part. So let's see what happens here. I'm trying to think if I can think of anything. If there's no self in Buddhism. Let's go ahead and get started. I don't know if I should be watching this though, because if I don't understand what is no self, maybe it'll explain here. Let's just go ahead.
If there is
give
no
it a shot.
self, what is reborn? The short answer is, your mind is reborn during death, the same way it was reborn every moment of your life. For a detailed answer, watch the rest of this video. Alright, if there is no self, what is reborn? If there is no soul, what is reborn? This is a very good and very common question that people ask when they're starting to learn about Buddhism.
Samskara.
To fully answer it, we need to unpack what Buddhists mean when they use the word self.
If I understood it correctly, and if I said the right word too.
Many world religions have a concept that, in the English language, is encapsulated with the word soul. What exactly is meant by the word soul can vary between religions. Nonetheless, the idea of a soul is an almost universal concept among world religions. In the religions of India, they use the word Atman. And then Buddhism comes along with this whole a soul cannot be found stuff, and suddenly things get really confusing. Now, I want you to notice that I said a soul cannot be found and not there is no soul. That subtle difference is important because there are texts in which the Buddha doesn't give a definitive yes or no as to whether a soul exists. For example, the Ananda Sutta. Still, this doesn't mean that the Buddha was agnostic about the existence of a soul, like after all his years of meditation and teaching he had absolutely no opinion. No, it's not like that. So what do we mean when we say a soul cannot be found? In Venerable Mahasi Sayadaw's commentary on the Anatta-lakkhana Sutta, the discourse on the not-self characteristic, he divides erroneous views of self into 4 types. If you want to do a deep dive into the Buddhist teachings on selflessness, I recommend you read that commentary. But for the sake of simplicity in this video, I'm going to define the soul like this. The soul is the unchanging part of you that feels your feelings and does your actions.
Okay. Feels your feelings and does your action. That's different. I was going to say Turiya. Because you're, well, not necessarily actually at that point. That feels your feelings. That is in Hinduism, that's just the body. Your true self is unaffected by all this stuff. So interesting, okay. That feels your feelings and does your actions. That's the body.
This is the SparkNotes version of what Buddhists intend to communicate when they use words like soul, self, and selflessness. And in this context, soul and self are interchangeable words. This is the concept of Atman that exists in many Indian religions. The soul is something that never changes. The soul feels your feelings. If you get a paper cut, your soul feels the pain. The soul controls your actions. Why did you choose vanilla instead of chocolate? Your soul made that choice sitting in its captain's chair somewhere inside of your mind-body mechanism. That's the idea anyways, the Atman idea. It's an idea that Buddhism rejects. Now that we have a firm understanding of what the self is supposed to be, can we find it? Where are you supposed to look anyway? For starters, let's think about the word I. When we use the words I, me, and mine, they can have a few different meanings, and most people aren't aware of how vague these meanings can get. Sometimes they mean our body. For example, if a person awkwardly stares at me for way too long, I say, "Why is that person looking at me like that?" In that case, me is the body. Other times the words I, me, and mine refer to the mind. For example, if I say, "I was shocked," what I mean is that the emotion, known as shock, appeared to my consciousness, and I was that consciousness. But wait, in that last sentence I said, "my consciousness," as if I was owning the consciousness. If I'm the owner, what exactly is that owner? This is the vagueness I was talking about. So, how do Buddhists deal with this? In Buddhism, all the different things that make up I, me, and mine are called the 5 aggregates, but for the sake of simplicity, I'm going to change it from the 5 aggregates to the 3 divisions.
5 aggregates. Form, feeling, perception, formation, consciousness. Contact. Formation, consciousness, perception, contact, perception, feeling, form to consciousness, elements. I'm just wondering if all this confusion is because of how language is, how you say I.
Division 1, the body. Division 2, the thoughts and feelings. Division 3, the awareness.
BMI.
The first 2 parts are pretty easy to understand, I think, but the third needs a bit of explanation. Basically, awareness is the act of seeing, and it's very close to the thoughts, but not exactly the same. Here's an analogy. A coin always has 2 sides. In order for a thought to exist, there needs to be a mind which has the innate ability to see thoughts, to perceive thoughts, to be aware of thoughts. That's your awareness, the act of seeing. At the same time, in order for the act of seeing to happen, there needs to be a thought that is seen. The act can't exist by itself, there needs to be a thought or some other type of perception present in order for the act of seeing to happen. So, thoughts and awareness depend on each other for existence. They're both parts of the larger entity called the 3 divisions, in the same way that the heads and tails sides of a coin are both parts of the whole coin. They are part of the whole coin, but they aren't the same thing. Heads is not tails, and tails is not heads. This is how Buddhist philosophy explains what awareness is, after you simplify it for a video. In part 1, we defined the self as the unchanging part of you that feels your feelings and does your actions. Alright, so can we find anything like that within the 3 divisions? Every part of your body changes as you age, so the body definitely isn't a soul. Thoughts and feelings constantly appear and disappear. Even our memories, the most long-lasting thoughts we have, change and disappear. So thoughts and feelings aren't a soul either. What about awareness? In the Buddhist view of things, your awareness is kind of like a blank movie screen, and your thoughts are like images projected onto the screen. Whenever a thought appears, the screen changes from being dark and empty to being illuminated by multicolored lights. In this way, every time a thought arises, fades, and changes, your awareness is being changed at the same time. If that movie screen analogy didn't make sense, let's go back to the coin.
So basically, your aware. Wait, hold on. Your awareness is the movie screen?
Your awareness is being changed at the same time.
So the blank canvas in the movie screen is your awareness. The picture that's being projected to it is your thoughts. if I'm understanding correctly.
If that movie screen analogy didn't make sense, let's go back to the coin. Imagine you have a coin and you flip it in the air. As long as the coin is in motion, both sides are moving. The position of both sides is constantly changing. I know this is confusing, so if this still doesn't make sense to you, let's talk about time. Basically, Buddhists believe that every moment of time has a different moment of awareness. Right now, your awareness is seeing and hearing this YouTube video. 1 hour in the future, your awareness will be seeing something else, maybe a funny cat video. The experiences of watching a Buddhist video and a funny cat video are different. Right now, you are experiencing what Buddhists would call Buddhist video awareness, and in the future you'll experience what they would call cat video awareness. Awareness is the act of seeing, hearing, and experiencing. Buddhist videos and cat videos offer slightly different experiences, and therefore, those are two different types of awareness. So, awareness is constantly changing too. It changes from Buddhist videos to cat videos to eating dinner to brushing your teeth to dreaming to waking up, so on and so on. And that's it.
So you have multiple awareness? Because you have Buddhist awareness and cat video awareness? Or is it that you only ever have one awareness and it's just a matter of what's being presented to that awareness at that time? I'm getting that he's saying that because... what is it?
Awareness. Awareness is the act of seeing, hearing, and experiencing. Buddhist videos and cat videos offer slightly different experiences, and therefore, those are two different types of awareness.
Two different types of awareness. So there's not just one awareness. Maybe there is one awareness, but there are many different types of awareness. Let's keep going.
So, awareness is constantly changing too. It changes from Buddhist videos to cat videos to eating dinner to brushing your teeth to dreaming to waking up, so on and so on.
Okay, so that to me sounds like there's one awareness that's just, it's whatever's being presented to it just changes as whatever's being aware at the moment. Not that there's two different kinds of awareness, there's just one awareness and what's being presented to it changes.
And that's it. There's nothing left to analyze. We looked at every part of ourselves, all three divisions, and couldn't find anything which matched the definition of soul, the unchanging part of you. We tried to find a self and failed. This is the part of the video where I seemingly contradict everything I just said. This may sound surprising, but Buddhism actually teaches that we do have a self. We have a self, but not an Atman. In part 1, we briefly touched upon this word Atman, which is for the most part interchangeable with the word soul in Western religions. The soul, or Atman, is something that never changes. Buddhism rejects this idea because, from the Buddhist perspective, everything in the three divisions is constantly changing. And those three divisions comprise everything that could reasonably be called I, me, and mine. Buddhism teaches that we have a self which is constantly changing, a self which is made of several parts which work together in unison. It's not that we can't find self. The three divisions are yourself. They are everything that makes you you, but they...
So here, where in some Hinduism way of life, Atman never changes, Brahman never changes. Your true self is never changing, because whenever you don't think about anything, the I never changes. I get that. But now with this one, I have to think along the lines of This one seems to be more along the lines of your preferences, because, when you say I like chocolate, but then maybe later down the road you're like, oh, I don't like chocolate anymore, I like vanilla. And this is where how your I is always changing. But in some Hinduism, or maybe all of them, I just don't know how to define that, because Hinduism to me is like a lot of things, and I don't know if it includes everything or not. So I'm just going to be generalizing for the most part. So in Hinduism, the one that answers the I never changes. It will always be there, unchanging. I get that. But the thing is, though, is that how that I answers changes, though. Does it? I feel good. I feel bad. Okay. No. It doesn't change. Don't, okay. The only thing that changes is your physical body, your physical taste, your physical experience. Everything changes, but the I in Hinduism never ever changes. The Atman never changes. Brahman never changes. Yeah. Okay, so I can see both. Perspective there so far. This one where it's more along the lines of how I think a bit, because whenever I say I want something, I don't see a physical separation of who I is. That sounds improper English. Who I am, who I is. But let's continue on.
They aren't unchanging and immutable. They constantly change as they interact with each other and the outside world. And that's why Buddhists say they can't find an Atman, which is the idea that something exists which can be called a self and is eternally unchanging. This would be less confusing if we never used the word self and just always said Atman, but the language is already solidified this way, so we just have to deal with it. Anyways, what exactly is rebirth? What do Buddhists mean when they say rebirth? Quite simply, rebirth is change. Your 3 divisions change every single nanosecond. They change into things which are not entirely different or entirely the same compared to what they used to be. Your body changed from a baby's body to what you have now, not entirely the same or entirely different. Everything is constantly changing like that, which means everything is constantly being reborn. This change has been happening for as long as you've been alive, and in the Buddhist view, it doesn't stop when you die. Death is just a more dramatic type of change. Rebirth isn't really about death, it's about change. It's a process of change in which you lose a lot of your memories and your body and get new ones.
Well, I will say I like a lot of that, except for the getting new ones portion. Again, my belief is I don't believe in reincarnation or rebirth. So just in case you need to know my perspective on that. But I don't disagree with
when
the fact
people are
I don't disagree with the fact that, I think it's pretty common. I see both perspectives in terms of non-duality and duality, or Buddhism and Hinduism, that our physical bodies do change. So that's the things that they always agree upon. The only thing they don't agree upon thus far is the fact that Atman is unchanging, unaffected, and in, of course, Buddhism, they don't believe in Atman. Yes, because everything changes.
New to Buddhism, there is often confusion about whether ideas like rebirth should be interpreted in a literal way or a metaphorical way. The answer is literal. Every school of Buddhism believes in literal rebirth. Literal rebirth meaning you die and come back to life as another sentient being, sometimes a human, sometimes an animal, maybe even an alien. Yes, there are sutras which talk about aliens practicing Buddhism. There are a lot of things I could say about the reasons why this confusion exists, why sometimes even serious teachers of Buddhism seem to enable this confusion, but that will have to go into another video. In the meanwhile, if you want to learn about how literal rebirth has always been in Buddhism, I recommend the book Rebirth in Early Buddhism and Current Research by Bhikkhu Analayo. I will leave an affiliate link in the description box. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this video interesting, please click the like button and subscribe. May all sentient beings, infinite as space, in every possible universe, benefit from this video. May they be free of suffering forever and ever, especially the ones who have hurt me.
This dude's got jokes. Alright. So there's this confusion in there. Okay, maybe I didn't quite understand the first portion of this video, but I don't think I'm confused in terms of my understanding of that. Because the rebirth can make sense with change. So kind of like, I guess, I don't know, maybe I'm misunderstanding it, but this pen, when the ink inside runs out, I can just remove the ink and put a new one in here, and boom, brand spanking new for the most part, and then I can reuse it again. And that would indicate that the outer shell is the soul, and the inside would be the body, because the body gets used up. When you're born, you have a full ink. Then as that ink expires or runs out, then you get a new ink, i.e. a new body. And then the external shell transfers from the next, so that the external shell, it changes a little bit. It gets worn, and then the inside gets changed, obviously, with the new body. So as the external part of this gets worn, scratched, all that wear and tear on the external part of this thing gets transferred to the new pen. So this is the body. This is, I guess, the experience. I'm not sure. Again, know very little about Buddhism, but whatever it is that's being transferred from one body to the next is this thing, and this thing physically changes. So even though you're constantly getting a brand new ink pen, everything around it shows the wear and tear from previous inks. That's my understanding of it thus far. I don't know if I got that right or not, but let me know. Alright, so I definitely need to learn a little bit more about Buddhism. I do follow this a little bit more, but I can see both perspectives, that there's this unchanging eye. There might be some competition for me there in my mind, with Atman never ever changing versus Buddhism belief in everything is forever. Everything is changing. That's interesting. Alright, so that's my reaction. If there's no self, what is reborn? Buddhist frequently asked question, FAQ. I will have to let y'all know this, because I will split up every film, just because I don't know which one's going to get completely blocked, and I don't want to piece them together, because that would mean that I'd have to chop up the video, take it down, chop up the video, and separate the ones that are not just being completely blocked. I mean, if they take the video and copyright claim the entire thing, then there's nothing I can do about it, but at least it's out there. It is, in fact, theirs anyway, as long as it's not being taken by someone else that it doesn't belong to. So do understand that if this short videos or long videos, I'm keeping them separate so that it's easier to say, okay, well, I can't use this one, then I'm sorry, here's the other one, at least it's separate. Anyways, that's it. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.